What's up everybody, Steven C. Killer here. It's time for a new reaction video. But before that, 77% of you guys watching are not subscribed. Now there are two reasons for this. You're either new or returning. With today's video, I hope you change that. Don't forget to hit that notification bell and join the Discord so you don't miss out on any live streams or new videos. With this being a brand new year, we have a brand new goal, by the way. Instead of 200K, we're going for 250,000 subscribers. Now let's get into this video. What's up everybody, Steven C. Killer bringing another reaction to some more film theory goodness. Now today we're checking out a film theory on Marvel with the most recent Ant-Man movie. Now, before going into this, I enjoyed the most recent Ant-Man movie. I thought it was pretty good. I'd give it like a solid 7.5. I kind of did a huge review back on the podcast I do with my friends. If you guys weren't aware, go check that out. But yeah, we're going to check out why it's time to panic in Marvel, film theory-wise. But before that, today's video is sponsored by HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get fresh, pre-proportioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. We all want to save money this time of year, but did you know that HelloFresh helps you save money all year round? In fact, HelloFresh is cheaper than grocery shopping and 25% cheaper than takeout. Skip the grocery store and take control of your time and budget with delicious recipes delivered right to your door. Count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Thanks again, HelloFresh, for being today's sponsor. Just check out the link below. Don't forget the special limited time discount plus free shipping. And try HelloFresh today. Now let's get into the video. Now, if you guys haven't already, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the original video, link down below as well. Let's get into this video, and if you haven't already also subscribed to my channel, let's get into this film theory on Marvel.
Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory, where no matter how much the Theorist dynasty grows, we promise to never get a big head. Well, Theorists, my buddy Paul Rudd is back.
I'm Matt Pat. I'm Paul Rudd, star of such hit as I Love You Man.
With a new hit movie, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Maybe hit is overselling it a bit based on audience review scores for this one, so let me just try that again. Of all the MCU
like
movies,
I said, I just thought it was a pretty good movie.
Is one of them.
It has a lot of flaws,
movie
though.
when the most excitement I get is the final title that reveals that the words Ant-Man were actually hidden in Quantumania the entire time. I was like, whoa, no way. It's like when you find out that the FedEx logo has a secret arrow hiding inside.
I didn't know that.
With this latest release, we officially have entered the beginning of MCU Phase 5, where, as the marketing hype says, nothing will ever be the same, which is actually very much the same for Marvel movies. Hey guys, maybe just consider changing up your press releases every once in a while. Or, you know what? Never mind, scratch that. Maybe I should be careful what I wish for, considering change is the thing that single-handedly drove this movie into the ground. Well, that and Soggy Bottom MODOK. Seriously, this is like the alternate universe if they had waited to reveal Ugly Sonic as part of the movie. Here, we're just stuck with this thing for 2 hours. Anyway, if you're really into PG Rick and Morty episodes, then this one is the movie for you.
What the f-
Whether you like the film or not, something that I've seen everyone agree on is that things felt off about the story. Scenes that felt awkwardly placed. Moments that resolved too quickly. Character arcs that were more like character cliffs. And this time, there's no one around to break the fourth wall and argue with producers about it.
None of these storylines make any sense. Is this working for you?
Something major changed here.
Oh wow,
I'm not
the
just
She-Hulk
talking about
stuff,
normal
yeah.
production stuff where things get left on the cutting room floor. There's another movie hiding in here somewhere. One that got chopped up, shuffled around, re-edited, rearranged, and reshot for some reason. And I want to know what that original movie was. I want to see the story that this was trying to tell, because my boy Ant-Man deserved better. I want to still care about this franchise and its Pharaoh Kang that looks like it just rolled out of the Party City. I want to, but it's getting real hard. And if I need to stop caring about this franchise, I want to know what went wrong along the way. Short version, get it? Anyway, I think at one point Scott Lang's adventure to the quantum realm not only had a very different, much darker ending, it also had a more complicated, morally complex story arc for the main character. But here's the biggest twist. I think solving what this movie could have been tells us a fascinating tale of the major mistakes that Marvel and the rest of Hollywood are making right now. Okay, so let me give you the quick recap of the movie we got so we can then, you know, actually piece together the movie we should have got. So it's 2025 and Scott Lang is kind of sort of retired from Ant-Manning since there really hasn't been an Avengers level threat lately, except for a city being taken hostage, a giant kaiju battle over Egypt, the multiverse ripping apart, and the complete rampage of a deadly witch gone rogue. Everyone...
You know, a lot of things have happened with the TV series and everything like that, that a lot of the other movies don't really discuss. Like that whole situation in Moon Knight where literally the sky reverses and everything. Or just in general, everything that happened during the Doctor Strange movie versus him and Wanda and everything else. There's a lot that goes on that doesn't... Well, the Spider-Man in the Spider-Man movie is understandable because a lot of people forget. But there's still so much that happens but isn't represented or talked about in any of the most recent stuff or movies or influenced wise.
One just forgot Scott's number for those. So instead, he wrote a book, available on audible.com, I have no doubt. Meanwhile, Hope is running Pym Industries as a do-gooder girl boss, Hank is collecting fat paychecks for mildly reacting to CGI ants, and Janet is definitely not talking about what she did while stuck in the quantum realm for the past 30 years. Seriously, don't even bring it up. She just doesn't have time to talk about it right now, okay, guy? As for Scott's daughter Cassie, she's all grown up into a completely different human being. She's also grown up to be an activist, stealing cop cars and protesting for the land to a completely different human being.
I didn't even know that she got recast, honestly. That didn't even dawn on me that it was a different actress.
She's also grown up to be an activist, stealing cop cars and protesting for the land rights of blip victims. So basically, she's a flag smasher. But don't worry, it's okay for her to do it because she's the hero's daughter. She also thinks that the grown-ups in her life are kinda resting on their save the world.
Oh. Oh, yeah. That is the same kind of... You know, that being pointed out, I didn't even realize that.
At one-time laurels instead of being as angry about all this stuff like she is. Then everyone gets zapped into the quantum realm so this whole boomers versus zoomers allegory can play out with cool monsters and lasers.
That's how you communicate, isn't it? By metaphor!
The good guys get split up between Hank, Hope, and Janet so she can very slowly reveal the plot, while Scott and Cassie get caught up with a group of refugees being oppressed by an evil dictator, Kang the Conqueror. And yeah, it's going exactly where you think it is. This is the kind of cause that Cassie is super passionate about and she wants to use her powers to help. Scott, meanwhile, says it's not their fight, and he's only focused on getting her home. And with that, we've set up, yet again, the clear ideological divide between these two characters that we'll then see inevitably play out over the next 2 hours of... Oh, wait, Scott just decides to agree with Cassie. Okay, that was quick to resolve itself. Well, anyway, Cassie gets captured by Kang, forcing Ant-Man to cooperate. They escape and ultimately return, storming the castle with their ragtag army of refugees. Kang blasts a lot of people with a disintegration laser, but then makes the strategic decision to...
That was a very weird switch. That was a very weird switch in the movie, I have to agree.
Only punch all the named characters. Eventually, the script writers remember it's an Ant-Man movie, so Kang is ultimately overwhelmed by an army of CGI ants. Oh, and MODOK is here. And then, right before they escape the quantum realm through a portal, Kang returns. Scott makes the ultimate self-sacrifice by pushing the rest of his family to safety while he gets the beatdown of his life.
I don't have to win. We both just have to lose.
Just as it looks like he's about to die, Hope comes in through the closing portal to finish off Kang for good. Maybe. Scott and Hope get a big dramatic heroes looking out over victory wide shot, perfect for an ambiguous but hopeful cut to black cliffhanger, and thus the movie ends with Scott and Hope trapped in the quantum realm with Cassie and the rest of the Young Avengers having to work to get them back. Wait, another record scratch? That is like 2 times we've used the same bit.
Yeah, this part was weird with the fact that it was in... Well, I guess in a sense they could be some type of time dilution on the fact that outside of the quantum realm, time moved by, is going by a lot faster compared to what they're feeling, but they didn't like discuss or say anything or mention it in the movie.
This episode. No, actually, instead of being stranded in the quantum realm, Cassie immediately opens another portal to the real world somehow, and we get a weirdly abrupt happy ending coda almost entirely in VO, where Scott wonders whether Kang will return. And then 2 post-credit scenes and the end of the film teaser confirm that yes, he will return. So, that's the movie. And largely, it works as a film, I guess. Are there plot threads left awkwardly dangling? Absolutely. Is it an Ant-Man movie? No, definitely not. But all of those
it's not the exact same thing as the prior two.
Tingling. What really convinced me to start digging deeper here was the ending. Everything that happens from when Cassie turns the portal back on looks a lot like something that was put together after the fact in post-production, using a bunch of recycled B-roll, a few minimal reshoots, and new voiceover. I mean, Scott's self-sacrifice fake-out lasts less than a minute. Just from a visual storytelling perspective alone, doesn't fit the very affectionate, hug-it-out, family-above-all tone that the rest of the movie sets up. No big, how am I gonna get out this time moments. No big reunion being seen on the other side of the portal. No restatement of the lessons that were learned along the way. This is Marvel Studios here, people. If that stuff ain't in there, it's because it wasn't shot to begin with. Kevin runs himself a tight ship.
The most advanced entertainment algorithm in the world, and it produces near perfect product.
And that conclusion is
It's getting less and less perfect, though, let's be honest. But I'm still looking forward to some of the future projects.
supported by leaks that happened as far back as last September, which said that, while no one was meant to die in the end, Hope and Scott were meant to get stranded in the quantum realm. That shot of Cassie turning on the portal, I suspect that it was originally going to be her activating something else entirely, possibly even as part of a post-credit scene. My personal headcanon is that she was flipping a switch to signal her father's old team to come help him. Our first confirmation that the Avengers are coming back, except this time, they're young. You wouldn't even need to know who the Avengers actually were at this point, just a tense zoom on a digital screen and then assemble. But also, a self-sacrificial ending here makes logical sense as well. See, while it might be a bit of an exaggeration to say,
Marvel movies all end the same way.
Wait, who's saying that?
one thing you probably did notice is that heroic self-sacrifice happens a lot. It's far and away the MCU's third favorite trope after bad dads and villains who are actually evil versions of the hero. Thor giving up Jane to stop Loki, Wanda losing Vision to destroy the Mind Stone, Black Widow yeeting herself off the cliff for the Soul Stone, Wenwu protecting his son from the Dweller in Darkness, Peter Parker giving up his life to fix the multiverse, and of course, Iron Man's sacrifice to snap away Thanos. Heck, the way that we know that Captain America is the goodest of the good guys is that he's a jump on the grenade guy at the beginning of his story, without needing to learn any lessons about humility or respect on the way. Be ready to lay down your life for others is the moral baseline of the MCU. It's the thing that makes the good guys here. Even newer characters are being put to the same tried and true test. In Multiverse of Madness, America Chavez is only able to defeat evil Wanda after she says that she'd be willing to sacrifice herself for the good of the many. Then, and only then, is she able to become a Marvel hero who can sucker punch someone who once held her own against Thanos. What all of these stories have in common is that the sacrifice is the payoff to an arc in the growth of the character. Thor learns how to put others' needs ahead of his own. America stops running from her problems. Tony's been trying to make up for being an arms dealer since he became Iron Man. And here's the thing, Ant-Man movies have already used the trope. In the first film, Scott shrinks to quantum size to protect Cassie 1.0, and therefore stop the man who would be MODOK, even though as far as he knew, there was no coming back from that choice. Why then would they do the same kind of payoff here again in the third outing? Well, here's one possibility. What if that subplot about Scott and Cassie butting heads over when and how to get involved in other people's fights that just kind of resolves itself in one scene was originally meant to be a much bigger deal? As in, the entire point of the movie kind of bigger. One thing I made fun of in my plot summary about the movie, but that's really frustrating when you actually watch it, is how slowly Janet reveals information about Kang. She knows that he's been down here the entire time. In fact, she's the one who helped Kang rise to power. She's the reason all of this is happening and why all these Rick and Morty rejects are being oppressed. But the movie delivers that information to us in a weird way. They drip feed it to us at a snail's pace, like much longer than a typical movie would deliver this information. They keep the name of the villain secret for a bunch of the runtime of the film, referring to Kang as him, all of them talking in hushed tones much longer than you would expect. And the fact that Janet is split up from Scott and Cassie means that even when she does finally find the time to explain her backstory like an hour into the film, Scott and Cassie still wouldn't know the danger that's around them. I suspect that the film was originally structured this way so that Kang's appearance and the fact that he's evil would be a big middle of the movie reveal. Now, that might seem like a big leap, but consider what this does to the character arcs in the film. What if, in an earlier version of the movie, Scott didn't take Cassie's side right away? Instead, he kept trying to only protect her. As a result, he takes up Kang's go get a thing from me offer willingly despite her objections because from his perspective, hey, we don't know what's happening down here really. He seems to be the guy in charge. Why are we assuming the weird aliens who made us drink goo are the good guys? That then reinforces the opening beats of the movie, the generational gap and their different priorities. Then it all goes wrong and the rest of the story plays out mostly the same. Hey, I'm Kang. Thanks for helping me achieve my true power. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm just gonna go oppress everything. Look at what that does. Scott suddenly realizes that he was wrong all along. He feels guilty for enabling this villain and needs to do an MCU heroic sacrifice, trademark, to atone for it, thereby reaffirming his good guy status while also establishing Cassie as having had the clearer, more righteous moral judgment all along. There's even this really strange moment in the actual film that makes me feel like we're really onto something here. Just before the big final battle, Scott stands up in giant man mode to confront Kang, and he has this angry line, shouting more seriously than we've ever heard this character sound, "We had a deal. Our word is our bond." Which, okay, he's mad, he should be, but why is he outraged that Kang, a guy he just found out existed, a guy that he only knows as an evil dictator? Is Scott really that surprised that he was dishonest with him? He has no reason to have assumed that he could trust Kang, unless all of that is a remnant from a version of the story where he did. Gotta tell you, theorists, twists, all the pieces are in place for us. It fixes the broken story arcs, it explains the awkwardly paced storytelling, it corrects the uncomfortable reshot ending. Kang's heel turn was meant to be a twist reveal rather than a core part of all the marketing. So why then did they make such a drastic change, and in the process butcher this movie to pieces? Because I suspect that this wasn't meant to be a Phase 5 movie, this was meant to be the end of Phase 4. Let me explain. If I'm right about what this movie's plot and ending were meant to be, look at what we're left with. A dark story about oppression, not trusting authority, and an ideological divide between older and younger generations of heroes. That doesn't sound like an Ant-Man movie, but it does sound like a Marvel Phase 4 project. For all its disjointed weirdness, Phase 4 did have itself a consistent theme: instability. Characters grappling with the realization that defeating Thanos, literally thwarting the end of the universe, didn't end every other problem forever. They're still suffering, injustice, inequality. Some of it got even worse, and now there are big disagreements over what to do about that, especially between people who feel like the biggest fight ever has already been won and those who think the fight has
The more and more I listen to this and think about it, MatPat is not wrong whatsoever with some of these statements.
only just started, which of course falls across generational lines. And it's here that we pit a rising crop of young heroes who want to fight the power and often hail from backgrounds that are, well, less significantly heavy on white guys named Chris, against older heroes who just want to retire. Hawkeye and Ant-Man just want to be dads. The Hulk is into meditation now. The entire nation of Wakanda just wants to be left alone again. And if you're really into heavy-handed metaphors, in Multiverse of Madness, Scarlet Witch goes full supervillain by trying to rip the life force out of a Latina teenager in order to resurrect a fake version of the American dream that only ever existed in her imagination. Even the blackest sheep of Phase 4, Thor: Love and Thunder, got in on these same themes.
Oh yeah, that movie didn't do so well, and there was some parts in that movie was like, really, this, really, come on, you did better than the third Thor movie. Why is this fourth Thor movie so much kind of meh?
Of instability and generational change. I mean, the bad guy wants to literally kill every god. You don't get much more anti-authority than that. And the movie ultimately agrees with Gore. We see that the gods do suck. Thor is only able to win by blowing up his franchise's chosen one conceit, by declaring that all the kids are worthy to be Thor, and that anything from random junk to a teddy bear can be as good as Mjolnir. That right—
Yeah. That whole segment that whole segment in that movie, like, in the middle of watching it, it didn't piss me off, like right in the moment. But the more and more I thought about it and everything, that movie, it just sucked.
Right there, that is Phase 4's narrative in one place. The system is falling apart, the people in charge are either corrupt or failing to fix it, the young people know what's what, and they're the ones who are gonna save us. The righteous path for any OG Avenger still kicking around is to aid, mentor, and pass that torch.
I guess the only cool thing about the Love and Thunder movie was the fact that we finally get to see and have Thor's daughter possibly become another key to the Young Avengers, which now that I think about it, a lot of the new Young Avengers and everything, a lot of them, yeah, there's enough of them now for the Young Avengers, so I'm wondering when we're going to get that movie.
Torch to the next generation.
Has that been announced? I think it might have been. I don't remember.
Ant-Man getting tricked into empowering a time-hopping multiversal dictator, him and the Wasp getting trapped and needing help from a younger generation of heroes. Sounds like a solid way to bring all these themes together and end this arc of storytelling on a cliffhanger that then gets us eager for the next major chapter of the story in the new Phase 5. So then why would they have changed Quantumania's story?
They called it the blip.
But in this case, I'm talking about the real-world blip 2020. COVID happened, not only delaying movie release.
You know what? I will give that credit for making probably Marvel's like strand of stuff not as high quality as some people like them to be. Some of the things were still good, but there was definitely, this affected it. This definitely affected the writing, the everything.
States, but the entire real-world global economy. Movie production was at a standstill. Theaters were closing. People were turning to YouTube and TikTok for their entertainment. Suddenly, the pressure was on for Marvel to single-handedly save the cinema. Things had to be churned out as fast as possible whenever they were able.
You know what? You're not wrong with that statement. If it wasn't for Marvel, I don't think movie theaters would be able to come back from that whole situation.
To get finished. Looking at Marvel's original release schedule for Phase 4, you see that the plan was to gradually introduce the multiverse, as opposed to throwing it all out there at once. No longer was there a chance to slowly build up to the reveal of Kang, he had to be put out there front and center. People loved Thanos after all, they'll have to love this guy too. Make Endgame happen again because the world almost ended and the movie biz is on the verge of dying. Pander to how corporate suits see Gen Z. Make sure that the fans are satisfied by giving them MODOK. They've been asking for him for a while. Bigger scale, bolder choices, multi-screen viewing experiences. Look at this graph of MCU content released by year. 2021 had 5 times the amount of content of any other year before it. It was a rush, a move of desperation to recover after a year without theaters. Except, in all of this rush, they forgot why people came out to these movies in the first place. The stories, the characters, not gears of a plot working together or fan service for the sake of fan service. Earned moments with tight
Very
narratives.
true.
Compelling stories that made sense without massive plot holes. Not an over-reliance on quippy dialogue, but dialogue that was funny because, yeah, that would be what that character would say in that moment. What's killing the MCU right now, and especially Quantumantia here, are moves that are made out of panic, self-doubt, a lack of confidence in the stories that they plan to tell, re-edits that result in choppy, uneven, compromised narratives as films are hacked to pieces. It took the Marvel brand, which used to act as a seal of quality, and it's now reduced it into something that, yeah, maybe I'll go see that when it airs on streaming. The last time a studio acted in this sort of panicked way, rushing to get to the next big event, that was DC. We're still watching how long it's taken them to turn things around. And there you have it, theorists, the darker story for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Are we right? Totally off? Will we ever know? It's hard to say. What I'm
I agree with a lot of your statements here, Matt Pat.
sure about is that this isn't going to be the last time that this genre of theory comes up. The whole media industry is still putting itself back together after years of huge world-shaping events. And even if it didn't play out as dark as it might have, the most relatable story that this movie tried to tell is that you can't really unchange the world, only decide how you are going to respond to it. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut.
Holy shit. I do have to agree with a lot of the statements there on the whole situation with the film industry and how it was affected by COVID, and how Marvel was the saving grace for a lot of this stuff, especially when it came to like, the Spider-Man movie. Everyone was hyped for the Doctor Strange movie and everything, the TV series, all that stuff. There was some good ups, there was some definitely large downs here and there, but overall, I'm still looking forward to Marvel. There's still a lot of flaws with the Ant-Man movie, but I still keep my grading at like 7.5. It wasn't terrible. Kang stole the movie. It was a Kang movie, and I'm just looking forward to, of course, the future with involving Kang and a bunch of other things like Secret Wars and much more. So hit that subscribe button if you guys enjoy. Check out all the links down below, especially certain individual links. Go check them out. Follow me on all of my social medias. Check out my Discord, join the Discord, all that good stuff. And if you have more suggestions, comment down below or post in the reaction ideas section. And I'll see you in the next video. Until then, later!
This is the Prince of the motherfucking Saiyans, and I am ordering you to subscribe to Steven Z. Killer!